Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the series Awakening to Purpose series. Okay, the last time we started day 9, we talked about listening to the longings of your soul, listening to the longings of your soul. And we talked about a lot of things, right? Today, I want to continue with day 9. I couldn't cover everything because my phone got hot and I couldn't continue video recording. So I was talking about, the longings of our soul, how we are, we easily see them as distractions, right? How we easily see them as distractions instead of directions. Remember, I said in the last video, in part A of this day 9, that the longings are different from cravings and ambitions. Longings are deep, they are rooted in purpose, right? They pull you towards meaning, towards truth, towards wholeness. Whereas craving seeks for immediate attention, immediate satisfaction. A craving, example of a craving is you are craving for ice cream, you are craving for sex, you are craving for maybe yogurt, right? So all those things, they demand immediate satisfaction. But it doesn't mean that if you don't satisfy them, if you don't eat a yogurt, if you are craving for yogurt and you don't buy one and consume, something is going to happen to you. No. And I said that the environment you expose yourself to matters, whether or not you are going to see the longings of your soul as distractions or as directions. I said something in the last video that the longings of our soul are, they are a pointer to where our energy wants to go, right? To where we need to be expending our energy and get the utmost return of investment of that energy. Energy is the currency of the soul. So if you are not feeling that energy where you are right now, whether it's in a relationship or in a work, and your soul is longing for something, you keep hearing this thing in your heart. There has to be more to life than this. I really want to do something that matters. It is your soul speaking to you. They are not distractions, they are directions. Even as children, we are born with this voice, right? We have these natural longings. We want to create, we want to explore, we want to speak, we want to lead. But over time, those longings were buried under fear, under rejection, under expectation, responsibility. When we begin to grow, when we begin to, when we are exposed to the institutions of society, the institution of socialization, for example, school, right? We were trained, right, to follow the push motivation instead of the pull motivation. I said something that we have motivations can be broadly classified into two: the push motivation or the pull motivation. The push motivation is a motivation that is coming from outside. It is extrinsic, whereas the pull motivation comes from within, right? So longing pulls you towards something. When we begin to grow, when we begin to go to school begins to program us to respond to life from a push motivation, right? So you are doing something because The motivation for doing that thing you are doing or for studying hard is because you want to avoid carryover, right? You don't want to disappoint your parents. Now, I'm not saying those things are bad, but I'm saying the motivation is not good. Is a push motivation, and that is not a good motivation. Pull motivation is that you are doing something, you are working hard towards something, not because you are trying to avoid pain, not because you are trying to avoid disappointing somebody, but because you are put towards something. You are driven by curiosity. You are studying hard, not because you want to pass exam, because you want to create. Because you are following curiosity. Because this path is a path that is leading you to build something. Not because you are avoiding a pain, not because you are seeking for promotion. So when we begin to grow as children, we have all these longings, right? We want to build, we want to connect. But we begin to grow and we become fearful, right? We become fearful. Expectations from family, from society, these things tend to keep us to conform so that we no longer listen to the inner voice of our soul. We begin to listen to the external voice. We begin to listen to the ego, right? We begin to build this ego. Ego is a false sense of self. So we begin to comply, to obey, because it is safe. Purpose begins with reclaiming that voice. Purpose begins with finding your voice that have been subdued, buried under fear, under rejection, under expectation, under responsibility. Purpose begins when you discover and you reclaim that voice. What are the common longings of our souls? Number one, to express creativity. To express creativity. We want to express creativity, right? Somebody said, what's his name? I can't remember, but he said something that we don't grow into creativity. We grow out of creativity. What he meant by that is that we were born naturally creative, but society somehow programmed us, right? Drilled us and teach us to grow out of creativity, to be compliant, to be obedient, to follow the crowd, to follow the laid down map. So it doesn't want us to invent our own paths. It doesn't want us to create. It doesn't want us to express. It just wants us to conform. But to express creativity is one of the longings of our soul. Number two, to feel connected to something bigger. To feel connected to something bigger than yourself. This is why people, this is why even though churches or religious bodies might, churches and mosques might seem like a religious thing, but when people belong to a church, they feel that they are connected to something bigger than themselves. They feel they are connected to a cause, to a community, to a vision that is bigger than themselves. And this is one of the longings of the soul. We live in a society that, that wants us to, see ourselves as individuals, right? It doesn't want us to cooperate, but how we thrive as humanity is by cooperation, not competition. Not this hyper individualism that is being promoted by the materialistic society today, right? So it is the longest of our soul to feel connected. That is why things like the Rotary Club, it's attractive. People want to belong there because you want to have this sense that there is something bigger than your life that you are connected to. Thirdly, to love and to be loved deeply. To love and to love deeply. This is one of the things that drives people to want to enter into relationship, to start a family, because it is innate in us to what? To love and to be loved. Knowing that you are loved, it brings you this peace. We live in a world where you meet a lot of strangers, a lot of things happen, but having that awareness that you are loved deeply is one of the longings of our soul, and it does good to the soul. To make an impact is also one of the longings of our soul. To make an impact, to make a difference in the life of somebody. Like I said, one of the challenge, or one of the problem I have with school is that the school system, the education we are giving children today, we are giving them education to be workers. Imagine the kind of world we have, the kind of difference we are going to make in the entire nation when we begin to do education and we are training children to be difference makers, to be people that go into society and they think of how to make an impact. Do you understand? Because it's one of the longings of our soul. I was thinking about something. The ideology of a cancer cell. The ideology of a cancer cell is growth. For growth's sake. So the cancer cell, it keeps growing and nobody checks. There is no system. When I was in 400 level, I did my, what is this thing called now? My before project, what is it called now? The one that you basically do more of research paper, right? You know the name. My topic was lipid metabolism in cancer cells. One of the things I understand is that all the pathways, for example, lipogenesis, gluconeogenesis, glycolysis, all of these pathways that are involved in lipid metabolism, their pace, their speed is increased. So cancer cells keep growing for growing's sake. If you relate this thing to what is happening to society, you realize that this is why a lot of people, no matter how much money they have, they don't seem to have enough. Because when you are accumulating money and you don't have a purpose for that, you don't put a purpose for that money so that the money does not become a tool, it's not a channel. It just becomes an end to itself. Then that ideology in your mind, in your head, is the ideology of a cancer cells. At the end of the day, you lose peace because you keep wanting for more. You don't know what enough is. And it does not just affect you, it affects the entire nation. It affects the people around you. Because now you are going to be greedy. You keep wanting for more. Is one of the bad things that is happening to our society today. So if you don't have a sense of I want to make an impact, you don't know what enough is. And you keep striving, and the resources you are accumulating, they become an end to themselves. And when they become an end to themselves, you are going to live a life that is somewhat empty. I like to mention this this statement that is attributed to Jesus Christ in the Bible. It says that the life of a man does not consist in the abundance of what he has, abundance of his possession. He said it does not consist in the abundance of his possession. Now, it's not demonizing possession. It's not saying that it is wrong to accumulate wealth, to have wealth. It is saying the life of man does not consist in the abundance of the things that he has. The question is, if the life of a man does not consist in the abundance or in the possession, then in what? And I will add, in their rootedness in purpose. And what that means is that in their rootedness, that I want to make an impact. The tendency to make an impact. You know, that sense that the resources I'm accumulating, they are not an end to themselves. They are vessels, they are channels. One of the another common longings of our soul is to feel free to choose one's own path. Another one is to live with truth and integrity. So if you have ever felt a tension between the life you are living right now and the life you know you are meant for, that is your soul speaking. So if you have felt a tension, a discrepancy between the life you are living right now, you think that the life you are living right now is not your life. You are feeling that there is this tension. That is a life you know you could be living. Then that is your soul speaking. You are supposed to pay attention and write the things that is coming to you. Write them down. We live in a society that is loud. We are overstimulated today, right? We have a lot of social media, TikToks are there, Facebook, WhatsApp. If you are going to listen to your soul, you need to have time. Quiet time for meditation, for reflection, for writing things down. Because listening to the soul requires stillness. The soul does not shout, right? It whispers. And for you to hear your soul, you need to listen. That is why practices like meditation, yoga, they are very important. We see these things as, all these people that are always thinking about stuff, it's for monks, it's for people that have a lot of money. It's not true. You can make out time, even if it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes, sit down with your thoughts and write things down. Sit down and not do anything. Just listen. So you have to create time. Time to listen to yourself. You are designed to long for more, right? You are designed to evolve, to grow, to express more of who you are. So the longing you are feeling is not a sign that you are broken. The longings of your soul is not a sign that you are broken or something is wrong with you. Rather, it is a sign that you are becoming. It is a sign that you are becoming. It is a sign that your energy wants to be utilized somewhere else, wants to go somewhere else. Suppressing your longings to please others or to survive in a system might help you to fit in, right? It might help you to fit in, to survive. However, you will never truly feel fulfilled until you listen and answer. You listen to the longings of your soul and act based on what longings of your soul. It's very easy for us to conform, Don't listen to the longings of your soul. Feel in, do what you are doing right now, even though somehow it feels empty. But it is safe, right? Isn't that what we are taught to do in school? The whole of our school we have gone to is preparation for safety. Right? Inspiration for safety. Just be safe. But sometimes listening to the longings of your soul, following the longings of your soul, involves the willingness to not, the ability for you to be comfortable, not fitting in. And sometimes it might involve you taking a risk. So if you are, hearing these longings, this nudge, right? It is not that you are confused. Your soul is not confused. Your schedule is just too loud, right? You are too busy. So you need to make a space and time to listen to the longings of your soul. Because if you are going to live a purpose-driven life, and if you are going to discover your purpose, you need to make out time to listen to the longings of your soul. So I will stop here, and I want you to ask me questions. I want you to put your questions in the comment section so that I can, get back to you. I want to believe that there are things I've said that may not really be clear to you, but I want you to put questions and I will address them. Remember, this is part B or part 2 of day 9, listening to the longings of your soul. So if you are just watching this and you've not watched the part A, I recommend you watch part A, because if you don't, you are not really going to get a full understanding of what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you for watching, and be expectant of day 10 teaching. Thank you for listening.